Hi guys, my name is Kirsty. Welcome back to Upside Down Books.
Non più tra I farfalloni amorò.
Today I'm going to be doing a book haul for both September and October because the number of books that I accumulated in September was actually very small. I only got 4 new books in September and I just didn't feel that was worth an entire video for. So we're going to be looking at everything I got over the last 2 months because I got quite a few more books in October. Now I think I'm not going to have another decent book haul to do until December because in November I go on a book buying ban in the lead up to Christmas because books are one of the main things my family usually gets me at Christmas time, so I make a big wish list and I give it to them and I pledge to not buy any books through that month so that they can just freely pick from the wish list that's about 300 books long. But anyway, that means that I'm not anticipating that in November I will have a book haul going up. I will probably save any ARCs that I receive, advanced reader copies, next month to haul them with my Christmas haul at the end of December, which should be quite spectacular as usual. So without further ado, let's dive in. We're going to start with the books that I received in September. One of the first books that I bought in September, or didn't buy so to speak, was actually the Rosie Project, but the audiobook. I picked up this series. I've got book 1 and book 2, so the Rosie Effect being book 2, and I've had them on my bookshelf for quite a few years now and it's something I am never inspired to pick up. But Audible has recently changed their perks with the subscription and there's an editor's pick every month. Sometimes it's very random and nothing I want to read, but last month it was the Rosie Project and I figured that I might as well get the audiobook because being the editor's pick it was free and I think I know I will get around to it a lot sooner doing that. I'm not sure entirely what I am expecting out of this book. I know a lot of people like it. I honestly am not sure this is 100% my thing, but I'm eager to read it, so we're going to see how book 1 goes, and if I enjoy it, then I will probably read the second one in its physical format, but I was pretty happy to be able to snag this for free as an audiobook. As far as I can recall, I only was sent 1 book from publishers in September, and that was Some Places More Than Others, which I have already read and reviewed, so you can find my review over on my blog for that one. This was a really, unexpected little gem. It is an own voices novel. It's very short. It's what, just over 200 pages, only just 200 pages, and it is middle grade fiction. It's all about a girl called Amira who lives in, I think lives in Oregon, and she manages to convince her father to take her to New York with him on one of his work trips where she reconnects with some family, and there's a whole lot more going on than that, but if you're looking for a really quick, great and exciting and quite powerful read, then I would definitely be recommending this one. So thank you very much to Bloomsbury for sending this my way and for being the only publishers that loved me in September. There were so many awesome releases that came out in September that at the start of the month I had a real hard time choosing which one I wanted to buy at the bookstore because I've been really enjoying making my monthly post on my blog called Books to Buy This Month, which is all the new releases that I'm excited about and can find and can see sitting on Goodreads that other people are excited about. And I usually go through that list when the month rolls over, maybe midway through that month when some of the books have been released, and I dawdle down to the bookstore and treat myself to one. And in September that book was The Harp of Kings. This one sounds super interesting. I think the setting and the characters are Irish inspired, which is always a great thing. It is an epic fantasy and it's about 2 siblings who I think they go on an undercover mission as assassins or something like that, but they're disguised as bards, and I think that sounds super funny. This is kind of, I'm imagining almost an adult version of Ranger's Apprentice for some reason. I'm sure the story will be nothing like that, but I'm going for that sort of vibes. So super excited when this one came out and I went down and grabbed myself a copy of it. I've not heard anything about it so far, but I'm very much so hoping that it will be as good as I want it to be. The other audiobook that I got in September with my subscription was Stalking Jack the Ripper. Now this is a YA book that is a reimagining, I don't know, of Jack the Ripper's story. I can't even remember reading the blurb, but there are so many people who have read this series and I really want to get in on the fun. Now I have been anticipating reading this via Audible on an audiobook for the longest of times and I have just never quite bit the bullet and actually bought it. There's always been something else that I've wanted more, so I'm really excited to finally have this one on my TBR. It is, I think, not the next audiobook I'm going to read, but the one after that, so I am crossing my fingers that I enjoy this because I really like the sound and the covers of the rest of the series, so I want to join in on the fun there. But that was all that I got in September. A bit of a bleak month for book hauling, but probably a great thing for my TBR, which is actually going down, which is incredible. I won't tell you how many books I have to read, but I will say that if you don't know, this entire bookshelf is unread books. Probably shouldn't be hauling any books for a whole year, really. Anyway, moving on to October, I was sent a couple of books in, or actually I was sent quite a few books in October, which was really exciting, and the first one I got excessively excited about, and that was The Christmas Party by Karen Swan. I love Karen Swan. I confess, only actually read one of Karen Swan's books, but my mum has read 3, and together we have become obsessed with how joyfully easy these books are to read. I have read The Christmas Lights, which was Swan's 2018 Christmas book, and I have every intention of reading this Christmas because they're just so much fun. This one has a much wilder sort of premise than the 2018 Christmas book did. This one is about the last night in Ireland, but in, I think, more contemporary times, and it's sort of an honorary title, and it's about when he dies and the inheritance and what happens between divvying that between his many daughters. So I think this is just going to be a bit of a scandalous catfight of a book that I am all down for. It should be light and easy. All of Karen's books tend to be a little bit big, but give me a week and I'll polish this one off really quickly. And hopefully at some point I will actually pick up some of the other books that I have been sent, because I've been sent most of Karen Swan's latest books, which is always thrilling. So a big thank you to Pam Macmillan for sending this one my way. This one will most likely have just been released by the time this video comes up. It comes out on the 29th of August, so you'll be able to get your own copy very soon. Now, there was also a huge number of books in October released that were incredible. We had some really big authors bring out some new books like Renee Ardier, Leigh Bardugo, and so many more. I am so excited to read all of them at some point, but I have got two October releases so far, but I feel like I might break and buy more because I'm just so tempted. But the first one that I bought, I haven't taken the sticker off. Can't believe I left that on. So the first book that I bought in October was Serpent and Death by Shelby Mahurin. The main reason that I bought this one is because I got really excited and went to the bookstore at the very beginning of October, and this was one of the few books that was released at the beginning of October. Most of them were released midway and to the end, but I'm very excited about this. This is quite a big book. I wasn't expecting it to be so big. I really loved the title and the cover. This one is all about a witch and a witch hunter, and essentially they are forced to live and marry and exist with each other, which is obviously going to cause all sorts of dramas and problems. I don't know why in this book they can't just kill each other or run away. There's obviously lots of other things going on around, but I think this is a beautifully complicated and intriguing setting. I have already heard quite a number of good things from this already on Instagram. I'm sure you've probably also seen a plethora of posts about it on Instagram, so there is so much hype going on about this book. I'm really hoping that it lives up to my expectations. The next book is one that I was sent, and this one was actually from Pam Macmillan and is one that has been in the pipeline for quite some time, and that is Salvation Lost by Peter F. Hamilton. You may or may not remember, but last month, or nope, at the start of this month, I read Salvation, which was book 1 in this series, and I had an email probably back in August, I think, asking if I wanted to read and review this, but this was the sequel, and I said, you know what, I'd really like to read this series. Will you send me book 1? And Pam Macmillan was very kind and did do that, so I've been really excited about this series. This is hard sci-fi, not everybody's cup of tea, but I've been really enjoying it. There's a lot of real science happening in this, and the story expands over the universe in different planets with lots of terraforming happening and portals and mysteries and murders and all sorts of conundrums going on. So if you do like sci-fi and you've read more real adult sci-fis and not so much of the YA science fiction, then you will be sure to enjoy this one. I will be picking this one up very soon because I'm aiming to get a review done by mid-November, so fingers crossed I can stick to that schedule. This is also going to be released on the 29th of October, so it's a big week next week for some fun releases. Now, the next book I was sent from Pam Macmillan, I was a little bit confused. I was actually contacted to ask if I wanted to review it, but it is the sequel or the second installment in a series, and I had originally turned it down because I have not read the first one, and as I'm currently committing to reviewing a sequel and have had to back read to catch up to do that, I didn't feel like committing to it again. But they sent me a copy anyway, so that book is The Queen's Tiger by Peter Watt. This is meant to be a leading Australian historical fiction author, and I actually think the setting sounds really interesting. I'm not sure if this is a book where I can just dive into book 2 and it's not an issue. I have a feeling it might be, so if you have read this series, you're aware of this series, or if you're aware of how this series works, then do please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to read this, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. So big thank you to Pam Macmillan for sending this my way. This comes out on the 12th of November. It is set in 1857 in colonial India, and there are all sorts of characters and fights and deceptions going on, so I think this will be a really interesting read. But yeah, just a shame that I haven't read book 1 yet. The final book that I have to share with you today is a book that my dad actually bought for me as a present, and it is another October release, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I have the hardback edition of it, which is super exciting. This book is absolutely stunning without its cover on. It has a beautiful little compass sort of thing on the front, and then a snakeskin spine, which is absolutely lovely to photograph. I can't wait to read this. So many people are excited about this book, and why wouldn't you be? It's a Leigh Bardugo book. I don't honestly know what to expect from this. I know that it's set in Yale, and I think there's going to be some magical paranormal sort of activities happening, but I'm not 100% sure. There is a little bit of a teasing line at the end of the blurb on this one saying that there are secret societies within Yale that tamper with forbidden magic, dark magic, raising the dead, and there's a dead body found on the campus. So I think this is actually going to be such a good read, and I cannot wait to pick it up. I'm just not quite sure when I'm going to fit this one into my TBR, because right now I am inundated with review copies. But I'm super excited about this. So those are all the books that I have received, bought and acquired throughout the months of September and October. Like I said, I don't think I will necessarily have a book haul video in November. I may well save all of it until December, so if there is no video next month, that is why, but I think I certainly have enough reading to keep me occupied until the festive months of the year roll around. So let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these, if you're planning on reading any of these, or if you've heard some good and exciting things, because I would love to hear it. Other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.